Peter Brackley, and I think we all hope the game tonight holds much in store for us. Trevor Brooking. This is on both teams before. This is only an exhibition match. All the same, they'll be getting stuck in for the win. Will today's match live up to all our expectations?
Come on. Come on. Come on. Tell me you weren't excited when this fire entered your ears.
Few moments later.
PES 2007 Track 1 Existence Lyrics. Yeah, just like I thought. There's nothing there. So I'll just make up my own shit. It's fine. Alright, that was the longest intro ever, but there was too many emotions. I don't even know where to begin. I love this game so much. I want to talk everything PES today and what this game meant to me at the time and why it's such a beautiful masterpiece. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think everyone has their own story with PES, how it influenced them, how much it meant to them in their childhood. What a fantastic product this was. I'll tell you mine. I moved to Canada around 2002, coming from post-NATO Serbia. Although my time in my motherland wasn't the best as my nation kind of fell apart, it started out as a pretty normal childhood, but then it turned to anything but. The first year in Canada was extremely rough for me. I was crying all the time. I refused to go to school for the first year. My inability to speak English, along with the anger of leaving all my friends and past life behind, really made me a miserable kid to be around. The only English word I actually used frequently was no. I said no to literally everything, which is kind of funny because that's the opposite of what I do today. I'm up for any challenge, I'm up for any adventure, I'm up for almost anything. For the first year, we lived in my cousin's basements. My parents worked shitty minimum wage jobs way below what they were making back home because they struggled to find work in their respective fields due to their inability to speak English. It wasn't a full year until we were able to move into our own apartment, and it wasn't a full year after that until we were able to afford a gaming system. And when I say afford, I just mean I was lucky enough for my brother to buy me a PS2 with the money he made working at the local cinema. Looking back at it, such a small act of generosity really might have been a pivotal role in my gaming and my video game career, if you want to call it that. I always loved PC games and even occasionally N64 games in my friend's house, but I was never personally big into console gaming. That all changed when Winning 11-8 on the PlayStation 2 came out.
World Soccer Winning 11-8 International.
It was a PES game that I believe once again was gifted to me by my brother, and it was such a massive influence on my childhood. After that, every time the game was released, I would beg my mom to drive me to EB Games and buy me the latest copy of Winning 11, which was no small amount of money for us at the time. I would come straight home and sink countless hours into the game for weeks and even months on end. Building a team and always favoring buying the best Serbian players, my love for Konami's Winning 11 franchise started here. For some reason, Pro Evolution Soccer 2007 stands out in my mind as a pivotal game in my childhood. I honestly think you can make a case for any Winning 11 game around this era for the best football video game ever made. The gameplay of PES was super fluid, fast-paced, and extremely rewarding. The shooting in the game is something today's PES can't even touch in my opinion. There was a beautiful weight and feel to every shot. It would take me weeks to adjust to just how delicate the shooting was in this game, but once I figured it out, I created some absolute magic. And where did I store all this magic on? On a memory card. Of course, I would have to buy another memory card because I had so many goals. I know I would probably never look at most of these goals again, but for some reason, I could not bring myself to deleting or overwriting any of the clips. This video is brought to you by no one. Yeah, I'd feel a bit weird dropping a cheeky NordVPN sponsorship on this one. It's a little too close to my heart. But I will give myself a shameless self-plug here. If you enjoy the video, sharing it, dropping a like, leaving a comment, all of these things help me tremendously at zero cost to you. I've worked on it for the past couple of months, and I would love for someone from the old Konami developer team to see it and maybe come on my podcast. Wow, a podcast? What a smooth transition, Nelly. Yes, I do have a podcast where I have random cool people from all types of disciplines, all types of walks of life, and we talk about all kinds of random stuff. So if you're interested, I'll leave a link down below. This channel is specifically for FIFA and PES news and any videos related to FIFA and PES, and maybe a sprinkle of real football. I also have a second channel where I'm just experimenting and uploading all kinds of random stuff. Links down below. But anyways, back to the video. The defending was consistent. Okay. Maybe my nostalgia is hiding some of the flaws that this game had. Let me show you actually how to defend in PES. Try to imagine a PlayStation 2 controller, okay? So, this, and then sometimes, maybe, I would just do this. But most of the time it was this. Playing this game again today, there are definitely some inconsistencies, but they are heavily outweighed by the art that is PES gameplay. Regardless, PES gameplay is something I took for granted as a kid. If someone told me at 10 years old that this is the best football game that we would ever get, and it would only get worse from here, I would not believe them.
We'll see how your teammates spread around the pitch in a more authentic way, allowing you to read the game better and also giving you new ways for you to create your own scoring chances.
On screen before you are two different mini-maps from two different games. One of the games is Pro Evolution Soccer 2007 and the other one is FIFA 2020. Let me ask you, can you guess which one is which? If you guessed that the game from 2007 has better AI movement than a game from 2020, you would be correct. This is an idea taken from my friend Stallion, whose channel and video I will leave in the top right corner, where he compared old FIFAs with new FIFAs, and basically we have a player standing in the middle of the field, not doing anything. I think in the PES game I'm doing a step over just so the AI doesn't come for the ball, but everything else is almost identical. And what you see before you is 20 minutes of in-game footage where you clearly see in PES you have computers trying to make different kinds of runs and give you different kinds of options, while in FIFA it's completely stagnant.
And Stojakovic had Jackson. Oh, what a pass!
Before humans argued about which came first, the chicken or the egg, they argued a much more fundamental and serious issue: realism versus arcadiness in football video games. At the center of this debate is one key element of football: passing. FIFA's passing is almost on par with a cutscene because neither party, the one making the pass or the one intercepting it, is actually in charge of what happens. Like this pass, for example. What is this pass? Is this guy a wizard? Why am I matched against Xavi on FIFA? No, this is just some random dude who made a horrible pass, but the game auto-assisted him so much that it made him look like a wizard. Current gen PES passing feels like a game of chess. You almost have to think 2 turns ahead. It's not perfect either. I'm not here to piss off both fan bases, but I do want to say that old PES passing was fun and fair. It was very fluid, and bad passes were punished and good ones were rewarded. That's the way it should be. Let's talk about features. This game was insane. The first thing I would do every single time I got a brand new copy of PES was go into the player editor and sub every single Serbian player that was misspelled. Kaznan? No, it's Mateja Kejman. Dejan Stankovic? No, it's Champions League winner Dejan Stankovic. Maybe I also boosted some of my Serbian players because I didn't agree with Konami's assessment of Serbian players, but shh, let's keep that between us. You could spend days, weeks, months in the player editor registering players, creating new ones, making transfers, editing emblems, creating kits, logos, shoes, stadiums. Have I said enough here? Do I need to say more? It was absolute madness. Random selection match? What the hell is that, Nelly? Well, it's something that is only good in a video game that has good gameplay. Random selection match is something me and my friends would spend countless hours doing. Such a simple and beautiful idea. Select regions or nations and the game would create a randomly generated team. Want to see Vidic and Zidane on the same team? I know I did. This is a fantastic example of gameplay over everything. Something as simple as this is so beautiful because the gameplay itself is fun and rewarding. It's like discovering ice cream for the first time and then realizing there's hundreds of different flavors to enjoy. You can't go wrong. You want to play the World Cup? Well, go buy FIFA, you loser. We don't have that here. We don't have the licenses. You're going to be playing the International Challenge Cup. The atmosphere for these games was electric.
Here we go. The build-up in the media prior to the start of this competition has been tremendous, and we have finally arrived, the first group stage match.
Oh fuck, it's 2006 Italy. What the actual fuck am I gonna do? No worries, I've got a country that no longer exists anymore. Yeah, that's exactly how it would have happened. If you are a real PES fan, you won every single cup this game had to offer. Why, you might ask? Cup Gallery. That's right, a glorified JPEG viewer. But trust me, it was worth it. It was so satisfying to see all these cups in your gallery. Asia Oceania Cup? Yeah, why not? 1500 V-Bucks on the line. Let's go, baby. Elites only. Before V-Bucks and 13-year-old Fortnite millionaires, we had something called the Wii Shop. That's right, W-E Shop, Winning 11 Shop. The first thing I remembered was always getting a little bit of V-Bucks and buying every single Serbian player I could. For some reason, I remember Mihailovic wasn't in the game. I know he didn't retire, so I don't understand why he was always tucked away in this unlockable section of the game. If someone knows in the comments, let me know. Anyways, I digress. This was a simple but satisfying progression system. Years later, FIFA would steal this idea with something called the catalog. At the time, to me at least, it seemed like FIFA was always behind PES in every single way. I would go to my friend's house having played 0 hours of FIFA since like FIFA 2000, and we would turn on some bullshit called FIFA World Cup 2006. It was like its own game, and I would obliterate them. I don't know why, but to me, FIFA was always a child's toy compared to what PES was at the time. They would hop on a PES with me, and they'd be down like 6-0 in halftime and call the game trash and never play it again. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Look at this shit. You can buy ostrich outfits, dinosaur outfits, penguin outfits, dog heads. This goal celebration for 1,000 points? I don't know about that one, Chief. Look, they even have Stallion's Wet Dream, unlocking new camera angles. You could even play in Age of Empires mode. Do I really need to sell you any more on just how badass the shop was? I've left the best for last. Master League, what a brilliant mode this was. Do you honestly think 10-year-old me knew what the hell half of the stuff was that was happening on screen? I would jump into Master League for the first time, and I would see that I had money, and then I would see the word transfer, and then I would spend all my money to get Stankovic. And if you think it's easy or cheap to convince a world-class player to come to play in my 2nd division team, you are sadly mistaken. Kind of silly by Stankovic to doubt my 10-year-old managerial skills, but whatever. I shut up and I paid up.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
And then shortly after, I would get a game over screen. Cool. Lesson learned. Basic economics at 10 years old. Don't spend more than you have. Understand what debt means.
For saving. This one is for spending.
These might have been my first ever lessons in finance. Second time, I would not spend $1 until I was able to pay off what I owed to my players and staff. The fear of losing countless hours of progress to a game over screen was more than enough to keep me very tamed in my investments. I would also save the game religiously because I feared this game over screen. Who knows how deep this game is embedded in my financial ideology at this point. Maybe there's a reason I don't spend so frivolously today. Let's talk about the emotional attachment we all built with these random Master League players. Ivarov, Valene, Jaric, Streamer, Dodo Bird, Linguini, Espimas, Xylophone, Menenda, Tito Ortiz, and of course, the Brazilian legend Castolo. These are names you would see every single year when you bought this game, and it was always a tough battle between deciding to play an older player with better skill sets or risk results with a younger player who needs to develop. These decisions for some reason weighed on me as I sat in school eating lunch. Like Jose ripping up a formation sheet, I was trying to get my finances and club structure in order at the age of 10. When it was time to replace someone, it became an emotional decision, like ending a long-term relationship. These guys in my eyes never aged like some sort of South Park character. I actually don't know if their age actually went up year to year, and it's not even something I want to look up. Not everything needs to be Googled. I really want to know if Konami ever thought that these randomly made players were going to have such an impact on so many people that played this game. Even to this day, 15 years after launch, I can name the entire Pro Evolution Winning 11 2006 lineup. For anyone that was hoping for an in-depth formations video, I apologize, this won't be that, but let's talk about formations. Young Nelly had no idea what half of these formations were. You could adjust the position of every single spot manually. You could give players instructions. You could understand how well they played with one another. You could understand how their development was going to be. This was an overload for my underdeveloped brain. As a kid, I only remember patterns. Maybe this is the perfect mindset for competing in any video game. Remember what works and lose what doesn't. In this game, the best way to score is something like this. Get the ball as wide as possible in the central part of the field and rip a low through ball to your strikers. It always worked. It worked so much so that I remember testing this out when I played at the highest level on the ladders. Stay tuned for that. The structure of Master League was simple brilliance. Start with fringe players in lower divisions and work your way up and buy better players or develop your current players. One really cool feature in PES was that when players retired, they would actually come back as their younger version of themselves with lower stats. By season 2, I remember trying to buy 19-year-old Mihailovic, a Serbian left-back free kick specialist. Such a rare type of player, and I would get his stats much higher than he was before his retirement. I would go on to win every single cup possible in Master League and then rinse and repeat. Every single year, I would play up to 10 seasons until my team looked like something from a Saudi prince's ultimate team in FIFA today. Maybe I'm an outlier here, but I didn't actually take my Master League team to the network mode, but I did partake in online modes. I remember the network adapter was something that was almost $100 for the PlayStation 2 at the time, but I needed to have it. Months of playing PES with my friend and Master League, I needed to know if I was cut out to play on the highest level. I can only go off my memory here, but I remember very well what happened, and it was such a significant moment in my childhood. Me and my friend would take turns playing online on the PES ladder. Calling it a ladder is a bit of a stretch at the time. The online menus were on par with games like Age of Empires 2, which came out in the early 2000s. Extremely simple with very few options. Games at the time were extremely laggy or unplayable, but it was an exhilarating experience. One day, me and my friend are sitting in my room playing PES, and I get matched against someone with a name that is only relevant to me and my friend. Something like Fonzie, Foonzie. Editor Nelly coming in at the last minute. This is kind of where it gets a bit weird because I was in the process of finishing this video and I was looking for some footage and some names and maybe some PlayStation 2007 ladders, and I came across this video. This video from 2007 has a very interesting username in the description. There it is, Fonzie, and it claims this guy was a cheater. Now, I don't know if any of this has any validity, but it does tell me that I specifically remember this guy's username. This is the guy I played in 2007. So what happened? He was like top 5 in the North American ladder for PES. My friend gave me the controller like some sort of soldier giving another soldier a precious sword to fight with. He knew that I was slightly better at him in PES, and he wanted the best possibility for us to beat this guy. And it was us, it wasn't me. We weren't playing for money, we weren't even playing for clout. This game wasn't recorded. I would not even move up the ladder if I beat this guy, but to me, it was one of the most important matches of PES in my life. I remember my friend sat next to me in complete silence, like you would see in today's FIFA esports games, just giving me a few pointers and cheering me on. It was a brutal game of PES.
Hello, I'm Peter Brackley. This evening's football is coming right up. In the meantime, let me introduce Trevor Brooking.
Thanks, Peter. Wouldn't it be great to see plenty of goals tonight?
I remember being very nervous, and I remember Fonzie being a Inter player, so I've simulated a match against a top computer player. Obviously, this is not footage from that game. That would be impossible. But this is kind of how it went down in my head. I started immediately searching for that middle through ball that I knew was so effective in PES.
De Rossi. Tade. Can you get a clean strike here?
I remember making silly mistakes because I felt the weight of the moment.
Concedes a throw in a dangerous position too.
I remember being very lucky, and I could have easily lost this game.
And he crosses!
But in some weird twist of fate, some Hollywood movie-esque ending, I did eventually get a goal.
They'll battle for this in the middle. Fires it in from quite a distance. It's in! Goal! They finally broke the deadlock.
And like all great players and sweaty players on the ladder, I did what every one of them does. Hold the ball as long as humanly possible.
Here's De Rossi. Panucci. huge roar from the crowd as the referee blows the final whistle.
Against all odds, Trevor, they have earned the win. Oh, it's a remarkable result, and the manager has to take a lot of credit for the way he organised his team.
I believe the actual score was 2-1, but I can't confirm that. I even asked my friend and he doesn't remember. The only other person on this planet that has the actual result potentially locked away in some sort of distant memory is Fonzie himself. So Fonzie, if you're out there, tell the chat that I beat you once and for all, definitively. Let me have this moment. And that was the end of PES for me that year. I got every single item in the item shop, I completed many seasons of Master League, and I beat a world-class player. I would buy and play PES every single year until 2013 as the game slowly started to fade and I played less and less matches. But I have still not said one key detail that makes these games so special. We've talked about features, gameplay, music, AI movement, but ultimately none of these things are what really makes these games better than anything on the market. These games are better because they have something that is rather intangible. They have a soul. They are like a scene from La La Land where everything comes together and you are overcome with joy and emotion. Like a well-constructed orchestra, your first kiss, there is an indescribable magic to it. You can feel the developers' love and care in almost every corner of this game. Whereas with a game like FIFA, I know the evil and greed hiding just underneath its thin, brittle surface. In this world where Konami reigned king, there wasn't really a possibility of updating the game after it released. And yet, it is more polished than any football game on the market months into its cycle. But let's put all that aside and just appreciate how awesome these games were and the Technicolor dreamland they put us in. Thank you to the countless developers that had any part in creating any of these games.